We'll begin our demo with a typical Windows 7 endpoint. This could be any corporate endpoint in the environment. And this particular endpoint has mounted a Microsoft file server over CIFS. We're calling it shared data. And this contains typical corporate data. We have some Word documents, some Excel files, PDF files, etc. in here. Unfortunately for this sample enterprise, this workstation was not patched against WannaCry. It just got infected, and we can see all of our files were renamed WannaCry, and we have the classic WannaCry scary background message appearing, and in just a second we'll get the classic hostage notification, and there it is. So now not only this workstation is infected, but we've actually infected all of our corporate data on that server, which hundreds to maybe thousands of users depend on. So we need to get that data back. What are we going to do? We're going to turn to Actfio. In the background, we've already shut down the Windows file server. You can see in VMware. And now we're going to go into Actfio, and we're going to pick that server, and we're going to pick a known good point in time of which we want to recover. So we've picked the latest image, which we know is good, or we believe it is at least. We're going to mount it. We pick mount, and we're going to mount it to a new VM. We'll give it a name. In this case, we'll call it clean server. We'll tell it where to put it in terms of ESX hosts and data store, and then we'll say mount. And this will be real-time, unedited. And important to note that Actfio does not move data when you do a mount. We are actually exposing a point in time over native storage, Fibre Channel or iSCSI, in real-time, wire speed, and giving access to that mount to a host, in which case we're using the ESX host here. So it doesn't matter how big this data is. It could be a gigabyte, a terabyte, it could be 100 terabytes. The amount of time to recover it is about the same, and it's already done. That job is finished. So we've already made a copy of that known good state, which we're now going to power on here. And we'll bring up the console. And this is being essentially streamed, if you will, over Fibre Channel or iSCSI from the Actfio appliance. We'll let Windows boot. And there it is. We'll go ahead and log into this virtual machine. Okay, we've logged in, and now we want to prove to ourselves that this is indeed a known good state. We've gotten our data back that was previously encrypted, so we'll go pick the shared data directory that's shared over CIFS, and we'll pick a file, open it up, and prove that it is not encrypted, and we have successfully restored our enterprise data. So now that we're back on the network, we'll switch over to remote desktop. We're logged into our file server, but for this case, we didn't do any mitigation. We didn't install the patch that protects against WannaCry infection, closes that vulnerability, nor do we mitigate our endpoints. And sure enough, as we're watching here, our server has just gotten reinfected by an endpoint. So have we just destroyed our one chance, since we've mounted this from Actfio? Did we just corrupt that point in time? And the answer is no, we haven't. Every time we do a mount from Actfio, we're not actually allowing read-write access to that point in time. The original data is immutable. We've essentially created a sandbox, and we've written changes, in which case we're seeing here the encrypted data, off to the side. So we can easily revert this again. So we're going to go back to Actfio now, and let's tear down this clean server, because it's no longer clean. We'll pick unmount and delete. Now we could keep it around for forensics purposes, but we're not going to here. We have the original one if we need forensics. So we'll say unmount and delete. We'll let that execute, and Actfio is going to tear down the image. We'll watch that happen in the background. Now it's important to note that Actfio is not endpoint protection. We don't back up workstations. We don't provide security services for endpoints. We operate on the server level in the enterprise core. And any good enterprise security is going to be multi-tiered. You want endpoint protection, and you want an immediate way to recover data should you lose it at the server level. So in this case, we didn't recover it very effectively, so we get another shot at it. That original data is immutable, so we can now go mount again at same point in time. It was not encrypted, right? The only thing that was encrypted was the data off to the side in the sandbox. So we can do this as many times as we want. We'll call this one second try. Hopefully we don't need a third. We'll tell it where we want to put it. We'll do mount. And again, in real time, we'll watch this happen. We're not actually moving bits of data. We're simply exposing that point in time over Fibre Channel or iSCSI. And the longest delay here is actually letting the host rescan its bus, which in this case the ESX host, to find that new storage. We can see that actually happening in the back. And it's done. We now have another copy of that known good state. We verified it was good last time. So we'll go ahead and we'll power that up now. So this time, let's recover this for real. We'll do some mitigation as soon as it comes up. We'll install the appropriate Microsoft patch to protect against reinfection, and we'll also mitigate our endpoints so that they don't attack it as well. So we'll go ahead and log in. And let's install the Microsoft patch. Again, this machine is not on the network yet. Whenever Actfio does a mount, it intentionally disables the network in a virtual machine so that you, the administrator, have to manually turn that back on when you're ready. So we haven't turned it back on yet. We've installed the patch. We'll let that reboot. In the background, we'd be mitigating our endpoints now, making sure that we've stomped out this infection. We could also use the Windows firewall tools or network level firewalls to isolate this host to known good machines. We've done all that, so we'll go and actually now turn on the network. Again, Actfio had it off by default. So we'll turn that back on, and this would be the equivalent of plugging a cable into a server. So now it's back on. People are able to access the corporate data, and we've recovered from this WannACry infection. So we can prove again that the data is there. We can pick a random PDF here, in which case we'll do a little acknowledgement for Digital Immunity, who provided us some assistance with the WannACry agent. And we have successfully recovered the infection.